Stadia. It is without question the worst platform launch I've seen in recent memory. Just about everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. The games aren't there, the features aren't there, the business model sucks, the technology doesn't quite work, it's not quite there yet, and people are complaining now after they have seen the current reality of this sinking platform. I talked previously about this Business Insider article highlighting numerous Reddit posts where a lot of the loyal Stadia fans are talking about how they're planning to not renew their subscription after their Stadia Pro 3 months period is over. And there are people just highlighting the missing features, the missing games, and how this platform did not live up to its promise, with it clearly being in beta stages in early access and being sold as if it were a final product at $130 and, the monthly fee for 4K 60 FPS that Stadia doesn't even deliver on with many of its games. Basic features like voice chat are still missing, and the list just goes on. And in response to all of these complaints, the Stadia team did publish the following post in which they promised 10 timed exclusives in the first half of this year and 120 games throughout 2020 alongside these various features. But people have doubts about Stadia's ability to maintain itself as a platform, given what this user highlighted right here on Reddit. This is a post that's gained a lot of traction over the past 2 days, with almost 9,000 upvotes in a subreddit with 56.8 thousand members. That's a pretty significant ratio. And here's what this user had to say. Stadia has officially gone 40 days without a new game announcement or release, feature update, or real community update. It has been out for 69 days. Nice. It's time we demand better. 0 games in 40 days. I don't even think Wii U was that bad. If this isn't indicative of a platform that clearly wasn't ready for launch, that clearly wasn't ready to be sold as a final product, that doesn't justify the price point of being a founder or a pro user, I mean, what does? The Reddit post continues, now that everyone's renewal date is approaching, I think it is time we outline the issues, borrowing from another post of mine from a couple weeks ago, and attempt to get some sort of response from the Google team that inspires more confidence than what we have seen so far. That's, I think, very fair. So, where do we stand? As expected, there haven't been any further updates in January after the 120 game mystery bonanza, other than February Pro games, which we still don't know. We actually do know now. Here's a new post from Stadia highlighting how Metro Exodus and Guild will now be part of the Stadia Pro program. Now, do keep in mind that Guild and Metro Exodus aren't new games. They have been a part of Stadia's meager library for some time now, but now they're accessible for free for those who did pay for Founders Edition, who are pro users, alongside these 5 other games that have been part of the pro program for some time now. Unfortunately, no new announcements when it comes to any upcoming games or features. Just no real significant or exciting updates whatsoever, nothing confidence-inspiring. Going back to this post, next bullet point reads, still supposedly 2+ months out until 4K on browser, any assistant functionality at all, and the true wireless controller functionality advertised. So there are plenty of promises that Stadia didn't keep. This is a platform that was marketed as all games being 4K, and yet 2 months out and on PC, you're only limited to 1080p because Chrome does not support 4K even now. It's bad enough that there are quite a few games out there on Stadia right now that just do not support 4K 60 FPS because the developers couldn't optimize their games well enough for the Stadia platform. But the fact that an entire way of playing on PC is across the board limited to 1080p, even for the Stadia games that can actually achieve 4K. Now that right there is pretty rough. And then as far as wireless functionality for the Stadia controller goes, that was indeed a big part of the marketing push for Stadia. And the wireless functionality is what allows a smooth transition from screen to screen, so you don't have to fiddle with wires. The whole experience is supposed to be very intuitive, but that's far from the truth right now, given all the limitations surrounding the platform and what devices you can actually play it on, and the way the controller isn't fully wireless yet. Next up, we have this bullet point, which reads 120 games coming out, but none revealed so far. It's entirely possible that they'll actually make this quota, but the fact that they haven't just said anything about these games and just hinted at any of these titles does not inspire confidence on this platform where communication between the Stadia team and the customers has been extremely poor. There needs to be some kind of roadmap. There needs to be some sort of idea for what the future holds. Otherwise, excitement is going to die down and people are going to opt out of this service. Next bullet point reads, Pixel phone remains the only Android phone with Stadia functionality, and still no mention of iOS. The fact that you cannot play Stadia on any phone at this stage is pretty baffling, especially given that Project xCloud in its current preview state allows you to take advantage of cloud gaming on any Android device. So with my Asus phone right here, I can actually boot up Project xCloud, whereas with Stadia, I am still limited to just my PC and my TV right now because I don't own a Pixel device. It's one of those things that just defeats the whole purpose of the product you're selling and the marquee feature that you advertise for it, which is this ability to switch from screen to screen with no trouble whatsoever. Next up, still no mention at all of Stadia Base. That's the free version of Stadia, which limits you to 1080p for those individual games that you purchase on Stadia at full price. Still no mention of family sharing, still no acknowledgement that they have read and or are listening to the community or plan on bettering their communication model. Daily updates scrapped for weekly updates, scrapped for bi-monthly updates. Now, Google did get wind of this post, and a community manager actually responded to this Reddit thread with the following comment. Hey everyone, thanks for taking the time to write out your thoughts, and don't worry, I'll make sure this post doesn't get removed. All the concerns you have brought to the table are completely valid, and I understand where your frustrations are coming from. Nobody likes to be left in the dark. While I don't have product updates to share right at this second, I can promise you that I have been and will continue taking feedback posted to the Stadia subreddit and other channels like the Stadia Community Forum back to the Stadia team. As always, thanks for your patience. Keep these notes coming. I'll be jotting them down as they come in. So this tells us a whole lot of nothing except we're listening to feedback. Now this is just the community manager. Grace here is just the messenger. She can only relay what she is told. So it is up to the Stadia team to keep community managers updated. And since the Stadia team has seemingly nothing to share, the community managers cannot really relay anything hopeful and confidence-inspiring. So this is not on Grace, this is on the Stadia team, who haven't made much progress. As for what other Reddit users had to say after seeing this comment about how it's been 40 days without a new game announcement or a new game release, and about all of these issues that were highlighted here, one Reddit user said, "Man, I really wish they advertised this as some kind of paid beta. They oversold and under-delivered." Yeah, me too, because this product is a beta. It is not complete. It is early access. It was not ready for launch. It should have never been advertised as a final product. It should have undergone some kind of preview program like Project xCloud smartly is right now. Speaking of xCloud, another user highlighted how xCloud already has 80 games and it's just in beta. And then this other user also praised xCloud, noting how it has a lot of games even in its preview state state and is just objectively the better value. If you get into the preview program, you can just play the 80 plus games that are there right now, and when xCloud does eventually launch, it'll probably be a Netflix of games style business model where you subscribe and get access to a whole library of games that you can choose to play on the cloud if you so desire, or play it locally on your local hardware on your Xbox Series X. One potential recompense that was proposed by this Reddit user reads, "I'd really like for them to extend this 3-month period in a 6-month or until we get out of this pre-release date period, since until now it's been worthless to have Pro." Indeed, given that Google did charge a full $130 for a product that they knew wasn't ready for launch, the least they could do is extend that subscription, that Pro subscription, until the product actually feels ready, until people feel like they actually got their money's worth, because the founders certainly did get the short end of the stick, and early adopters will always have a worse experience than the people who get a product after the whole ecosystem has been fleshed out. But with Stadia, given the asking price and the way it was marketed, this was just too rough of a launch even for an early adopter, and they have to offer some kind of recompense, and this is one potential solution. And then this user proceeded to echo a lot of Stadia user sentiment, stating, "We have no info, no news, nothing basically about games, and absolute radio silence from them, and it's been a month since Christmas. Feels like the project is already dead." Here's another Reddit user who provided their insight about their less than ideal experience with Stadia Founders Edition. This reads, "100% agree. I'm a founder and was very optimistic about the service based on the initial reveal and promises. As February draws close, I don't see any reason for me to continue my Pro subscription. Not much in the way of must-play games, and very little has been announced to look forward to. The main devices I would like to play on, Nvidia Shield and iPad, are not supported. I'm not seeing much communication or excitement from Google themselves. Nothing really leads me to believe there is much of a future here. I hate being all doom and gloom about Stadia. I was excited about it and I bought into the service, but I'd be lying if I said that things looked good for the future. Probably will just chalk this up to a bad purchase on my part and move on." You can see right here, many people were optimistic about Stadia and they really wanted this product to be good. They aren't just hating on this just to hate. They really wanted this to work. They really wanted this to be worth the purchase. But even the most optimistic of players right now are saying, yeah, I'm done. So as far as the Stadia community goes and some of the things they've been saying lately, this is where we're at. It is certainly ridiculous that it's been 40 days without any updates on game announcements. And if this continues, Stadia is just not going to have much of a future. And Stadia also specifically needs first-party titles, although the prospect of a game that you can only play on Stadia is woefully unappealing to me. Ultimately, the ideal situation would be if Stadia recovers by changing their business model completely, just overhauling this whole idea of buying individual Stadia games. Instead, they need to opt for that subscription model that grants you access to a whole library. Then Stadia has a chance to make a resurgence. Alright, I've said all there is to say. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on Stadia not having launched a new game or made a game announcement in 40 days. Drop a comment below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.